tadim tadim ta, takadim tadim ta, din tadin ta din tadin ta takadin ta din tadin ta, kadakadakadam, din tadim ta, kadakadakadam, din takita taka din takita ta din takita taka din takadam din takita kadakadakadam kadakadakadam de tam kadakadakadam de tam dum tadim kadim dim din tadim dinatadim tam dinatadim tam takita tam.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
It is such an honor for me personally to have you here at SAM. We just finished your workshop, and I think it's been years since we've had a workshop that was so engaging and so exciting. And one of the best things I personally always enjoy about doing Konnakol workshops or Carnatic workshops in general is that, fortunately or unfortunately, the Western musicians that come here, they go in without too much of expectations, right? And then they come out mind blown, right? And that I think our students experienced that today. I think a lot of minds were blown today. So once again, thank you on behalf of all the students and faculty for doing this.
First of all, thanks for inviting me to be here with you all. I think I had a lot of fun interacting because normally wherever I go with the workshop scenario, there are multiple standards of learning over there. So it becomes very difficult as somebody who is doing the workshop to see what can be done. Like if you do something, it's too low as a
too basic
standard or too advanced. But here I did not feel that so much. Even though you said that there were multiple standards of understanding here, but somehow everyone seemed to be more involved than I expected. So thank you very much for having me here.
No, it's our pleasure, totally. So I'd like to start at the beginning. Like, what inspired you to become a musician? And if it was music, was it always going to be Carnatic music, or did the interest in Carnatic music make you a musician?
Do you want it in long format or a short format?
I think we can go for somewhere in the middle, because there's a lot of things I want to ask you.
Okay. I'm born into a family of musicians.
Okay.
Probably I think I'm the 5th generation of musicians. My children going into the 6th. And my father, he's a percussionist and probably one of the most popular Konnakol proponents. He was a Mridangam artist as well. And his guru, Gopal Rao, from whom he learned Konnakol, and my guru from Chennai. I have 2 gurus, one from Bangalore, K.N. Krishnamurthy sir, and here Dr. T.K. Murthy sir. And my father's name is B.K. Chandramouli. So when I was born, I had no other option. Probably I was actually forced into music. Literally, I had no other choice. And they used to make me practice so much that I hated music at one point. And then there was also a moment that came when I was a teenager. I was so rebellious, I just didn't want to do it anymore. And something changed in my life my father noticed that he is a genius. I think there is something wrong with this guy. And then he said, oh, why don't you just chill a little bit and then don't do music. Just go to a cassette shop and pick up whatever you want. Listen to whatever music you want.
With some music.
Just stay connected with it. I don't insist on Carnatic music or classical music or whatever. But when I go there, it was a cassette shop. I was 12 or 13 or 14, something like that. And there was this cassette of a big beard Mridangam holding man. I saw it, and it was 1989. I was 13 years old, and that album had just released in 88. It was Karekudi Mani sir's Shrutilaya.
Okay.
And then I said, like, can I have that? And this man who was selling the cassette in Bangalore was a Tamilian, and then he was very much attached to Carnatic music. And he said, oh, you have good taste. You're taking very good cassette. I said, I have no taste. I'm just picking up whatever is attractive. This man looks attractive to me. Like he has big beard. He looks funky. He's holding a mridangam. So it's so Carnatic for me, you know. Though he is very traditional, and then he looked very traditional, but still his beard and then the way he looked and the way he held the mridangam made me attract so much. So I took that, and then I brought, and I just had my father had got me a tape recorder with two cassettes, you know, where you can record from one to another. You know, that thing was hip back then. So I took that, and then I just played, and then it said like multi-bass system or something like that, you know, like all those like fancy things. And then I played, and then the first thing was mridangam. It's like, wow, this is mridangam. Sounds like so funky and then jazzy, you know, like wow. And then it took 1 month for me to come back to music again. And that album where Karakodi Mani sir, Harishankar sir, and Vasan sir, and Kannan sir, all these people are playing, Ramani sir, Lalgudi sir. It's probably one of the most important moments of my musical life, where I was about to take complete U-turn, and then again it brought me back into into this. And then I was listening to my father's Konnakol all the time, and then another moment of my life was after 2-3 years I listened to one cassette where Dr. T.K. Murthy sir started. My father was all about that, this kind of phrasing. And then I've played this cassette of Murthy sir. It was also Talavadya, percussion ensemble. He starts with oh, this set of syllables I've never heard. Is this Carnatic music? And then I went and played it to my father. I said, yes, this is one of the greatest artists that India has ever had.
Right.
And then from that day I also got hooked on to his playing and my father's playing. Then from then on I just kept adding all these different kinds of styles into my repertoire. And this has been my life so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in fact, we were just talking before this about how, you know, there's one thing to listen to mridangam, and then it's another thing altogether to listen to the vocal this thing of Konnakol. So how, you know, talk to me about that.
Well, a lot of people think that I'm a Konnakol artist, which is in a way yes, but I'm not like 100%. It's not my total profession. I play mridangam. Mridangam is my profession, playing mridangam. And Konnakol, I only use it because I saw that when I started posting on the social media, I saw that mridangam or any particular instrument that you play, be it guitar or drums or mridangam or anything, people who would appreciate an instrument, I mean by the percentage of it, is if it is a percussion instrument, either that instrument listeners or players or the percussionists.
Yeah.
Or for example, for guitar, it will be mostly like melodic artists who watch these videos. And I saw that if there is a vocalist, something related to voice, there used to be multi-genres of artists who saw that.
Any instrument,
any drummer. I kept thinking, why is this like this? And then I thought, okay, maybe because they are looking into the camera. So when you look into the camera, when the person is watching it, it feels like they are looking at you.
Right.
And then you have a personal connection to them.
Right.
So then I started like small videos of Konnakol. Whatever I played on mridangam, I did the same thing on Konnakol, and then somehow it started growing and growing and growing.
Right.
So that's why I think I use Konnakol mostly like what we are speaking in English as a communicative language. The same way to communicate music or rhythms, I use mostly Konnakol. But most of the times, I would say more than 90% of the times that I'm on stage, you would see me only playing mridangam. Yeah, playing classical music concerts or with any kinds, any genres of music. I play mostly mridangam.
Yeah, also, I mean, because I think with Konnakol, the thing is, if I were to watch a video of, let's say, you're demonstrating something and you're playing the mridangam, for me to relate to it, I need to at least understand how the mridangam, the physics of the dynamics of the instrument and what sound is generated from and all that. Whereas when it's a cappella, it's something that we speak. Similarly, even as a guitarist myself, like I was telling you, in metal, it's so Konnakol has made our life so easy because it's so easy for us to now communicate an idea, you know. And first of all, you know, it's the counting system. The other thing which we enjoy a lot is, you know, it's not just takadimi, it's also the tam and the tang and things like that, and how it, you know, as a guitarist, how that affects my right hand, you know. And now it's become muscle memory, so I know what like how a tang is. It kind of bounces back. How a tam is, like, you know, for me, like a staccato when we are playing. So I think that has to do a lot with the Konnakol aspect. And where do you think of all the which is probably the most unexpected place that you have found an appreciation for Konnakol across the world, wherever you've...
Well, this is one thing, like, you know, you have to be very careful because this is one art form where it can get very cheesy very easily. You know, that was also a strong rebellious movement that I had, because at one point, because I used to do a lot of Konnakol concerts until 2005, 2006, and there came a moment where I used to listen to Konnakol all the time, everywhere, but in a very commercial and a cheesy way, or like tak, you know, like people are using it more like a free escape route to become famous. You know, it's very easy. You use these syllables few times here and there. Already the track is very, very good in terms of
like
getting the
appeal.
applause from the people. And I was not interested in that. I'm not interested in people really applauding me, because it is something that it's kind of like this approval. I don't want approval of people. I want people to have questions in their mind when they listen to my music. It's about not getting answers, because it's like directing a movie where you have a happy ending, so that means like people are expecting something and then they have that and they go home happily. But I want, when somebody is listening to my music, to go, they want me to dislike a little bit, and then they want to question like how this guy is doing this and then still being able to manage this as a profession. And then they start exploring on what I was trying to do. So they have questions, and then they want to come back to that again and see, then they get convinced, you know, like not get easily the answers. So that's one thing that I started rebelling about around 2014-15. I came back with a lot of these videos, and then slowly I started putting extremely complicated stuff. And then I found out that if you are clear in what you want to do, and then your conviction is right, your intention is right, doesn't matter what you're doing. People only listen to your sounds and your emotions. Doesn't matter what is coming out of, like, if you say, even if you're saying, I am good, what do you think? But you can hear I'm saying I'm good, but when you look at my face, it doesn't look like I'm good. Like, right? I'm really bad, you know, when I say that. There is something happiness about me being bad. So I was trying to, because getting introduced into a lot of contemporary dance and music, and then introduced to a lot of musicians around the world, I only started observing the psychology of the artists right next to me. What are they? And to interlock. I'm never interested in playing a solo. I'm always interested in, just like African drumming.
Right.
But people are happy when they are playing together.
Right.
You know, when you're alone, you're alone. Like when 6 people on the stage are staring at you, they're happy, of course. But at the same time, I feel like, I'm all alone. I just want people to be with me as well. You know, I'm always a group musician.
Right. Rhythm section.
Yeah. Not only that, like, you know, just to be together all the time.
Right.
You know?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So, I mean, you know, like, now we know so many musicians across the world who are, you know, talking about Konnakol, and I'm not just talking about Indian artists. Like, there are artists from around the world now who are this thing. Do you think that, like, why do you think, first of all, do you agree with me that, you know, there is Hindustani music went out before Carnatic music? Like, it has taken Carnatic music a little longer to actually get that spotlight, so to speak. Do you think that's the case? Like,
Well, I would like to give an honest answer to this.
Yeah, please.
I was appreciative about all the vocal music I was talking. This is my understanding. Maybe a lot of people might disagree with that. This is one thing that I'm about. I just say whatever I think. Hindustani music, when you're talking about Hindustani music outside India, what do they talk about normally? Hindustani music, sitar and tabla.
Yeah.
When they talk about Carnatic music, they talk about kritis. They talk about the compositions. They don't talk about the instruments. Because it's a very vocal dominant music. And when it comes to vocal dominant music, it becomes language based. And when it becomes language based, I think it is very religious based, because most of the compositions are talking about what
devotional.
Mostly about the deities or the gods, or you see a lot less compositions of a composer talking about the nature, or a composer talking about love, all these things. Even if it was in a different language, when somebody comes to know that, okay, this is not something related to religion, but something related to the world, then they become more interested in that. That's probably one of the primary reasons that in Hindustani music, instrumental music is predominantly used, or it's gone out more as the first thing. And in Carnatic music, it's the vocal music. So people relate to it less compared to instrumental music. Let us say if it was instrumental music, probably it would have been a different story. So somehow this is a very vocal dominant music.
Sure. Also, probably it takes a lot more commitment to even be a listener of Carnatic music.
I mean, you need constant attention. You can't just be washing your dishes while listening to Carnatic music. I find it, I'm a musician of Carnatic music, but I cannot take my example. But I know a lot of people, for them it needs complete attention. So if you're listening to that music, you should be in front of it, or like just completely attentive about it. But a lot of music is not like that. For example, even contemporary classical music, you can't, it is like that as well. Like that is happening, like the experimental music. It is also like that. You cannot have like playing it on the system and then do other chores. But when it comes to a little bit more organized music, that's where you start losing the audience. Like for example, let's just take the simple rhythm. Dum ta dum ta dum dum ta dum ta dum. People are jumping up and down. Okay, this is, let us say, pop music. Let's say go a little bit to the jazz. Dum ta dum 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 ta dum ta dum ta dum ta dum dum ta dum ta ta dum dum ta dum. Okay, there you can still feel people are there, but they don't feel the 4/4. Right? But when it comes to Carnatic music, dum ta ta tikita dim ta ta dim ta ka ta kita kada kada dum ta ta kada kada dum kada dum ta tin ta ka ta kita dum ta ta tin ta 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 ka tin na kada dum ta dim. Yeah, I mean, like if I'm clapping, you can see that pulse is there, but still I
don't know what's going to happen next.
Like you're actually taking people off their comfort zone. The more people get off their comfort zone when they're listening to the music, you lose them. But is it your concern? It's not my concern.
Shouldn't be.
It's not my concern being a musician. But when it comes, when people talk about, what is popular, what is not popular, it's okay. I still feel Carnatic music is a musician's music to a larger extent.
Sure.
If it is not for a South Indian, because South Indian musicians non-musicians relate to it much more, because they have listened to this from their younger days. But when it comes to somebody who is out of that culture, musicians get more attracted to the music than the layman.
For sure.
This is my experience. I'm not talking about it for others.
No, I mean, I think that's very interesting, because even the audience at a Carnatic concert is very well educated. Like, like the front row, I've mostly seen them, they're keeping the tal, they're helping. I mean, I don't want to say they're helping the people on stage, but they're actually, and that just goes to show how
very
deep
involved
into it they are. And most of the people who go, in fact, they know the music, they know
fanatics.
So I mean, it's actually, it would be, as a musician, I'm sure that feels amazing, knowing that you're playing to an audience and they know, they're very well aware of the music. And it's also very interesting, your point, I think, that Carnatic music is probably sowing the seeds with the musicians around the world, as opposed to the casual listeners. Not to say one is better than the other.
That comes to your question of like why people get more attracted to this music who are musicians outside India.
Yeah.
That's because they have something in this which is beyond being accessible to people to enhance their knowledge. Because Carnatic music is probably one of the most, I wouldn't say the sophisticated systems, but one of the most sophisticated systems when it comes to rhythm and melody. It goes to as far as you can decipher almost what you can listen.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm not saying you can perform, but you can decipher.
Yeah.
Like you can relate to what. Playing it is another story. It's something that you need to practice a lot. Even like even if you want to play blues or something like that, the laid back. Carnatic music musician would take it a long time to understand those emotions because emotions are the hardest one for a musician to achieve, and that is same and different at the same time, like an oxymoron in every kind of music. You're expressing the same kind of emotion in a different format. That's all.
Right. So what new non-Carnatic music does Mr. B C Manjunath listen to right now in 2023?
Right now, I'm very interested in. I'm listening to a lot of Tigran Hamasyan.
Right.
I really like his music. I listen to a lot of Latin and Ethiopian rhythms. So, two different. Like, I'm very interested. It's my characteristic of playing together. So Latin music and African music have this like being together on the stage, and then if you single out some person, you can see that what they do is extremely complicated. But when you look at the whole thing, it's very enjoyable.
Right.
It's
kind
like
of fits in everywhere.
Let's take a simple smartphone. It's very easily accessible for a common man. But at the same time, when you start deciphering it, it's very hard to see a lot of complicated. So it is a thing for even a knowledgeable person or somebody who is just a connoisseur or somebody a layman. So this music is like that for me because probably they don't even know they're doing something complicated because it's so much imbibed in their blood and culture. For me, these are and Tigran Hamasyan is somebody for me for whom there's a merge of melody and rhythm.
Right.
It's very hard to separate melody and rhythm in his music.
Right.
When you think that he's doing something melodious, you see, there is a lot of rhythmic stuff.
There's a lot of rhythmic stuff.
So, someone that I really look up to at this moment. And then I'm listening to a lot of music, of his music. But I don't listen to so much these days. I listen so many years of music. I just like to practice a lot.
Sure. And what do we have to look forward in terms of any new music, new tours, any new shows that you have coming up?
There are some things that I cannot disclose, which I will not.
Okay.
Right now, I have one project that's running with a French percussionist. It's a 70-minute program, and then we already played a couple of tours. It's with Florent Jodelet from Paris. So I have composed some music, he has composed some, and then we have different composers who have composed for this project, which is called a Sarigama Padani. I don't know why it is called, because it's a rhythmic project and we called it Sarigama Padani. And we are looking forward to tour this project, which will happen in next year and coming years. Apart from that, I'm working on with a composer from Italy, Riccardo Nova. Based on the harmony in Mridangams. So he has, we still have to record that stuff, but we already tried out some stuff, and then a lot of different kinds of tuning in Mridangam. Where he's asking me to tune like 12 cents minus to F, and then somehow he's finding different kinds of harmony, and then he's writing a piece for me, which is about 25-30 minutes of piece of Mridangam and electronics that's created out of Mridangam.
Okay.
So this is something that I'm doing, and then otherwise, I'm doing a lot of workshops across the world. Next month, I'm going to Belgium, Germany, and then Netherlands, and then Sweden, and a lot of places. So this is one of my things, and then I continue to practice here.
Right.
There are a few projects which I'm very excited about, but it'll be announced soon.
Sure. No, I'm pretty sure the next time that we get you here, because we definitely will do everything we can to get you back here. But the next time we meet, I'm sure, hopefully then you'll be able to talk to us about these secret projects at the moment. But so once again, thank you on
Thank you so
behalf
much.
of everyone here. It was an amazing. I think it was the workshop was amazing. The performances during that were amazing. This conversation with you was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Boom.